今天要分享的改编故事是叶公好龙，希望能在学习英语的路上给你带来收获。你的每个点赞和订阅都是对我莫大的鼓励。那么，咱们开始吧。
Back in the ancient state of Chu, during the time of the spring and autumn period, there was a man named Shin Zhuliang. He was the magistrate of a place called Yi, so people called him Lord Yi. This Lord Yi had a reputation that spread far and wide. He loved dragons more than anything else in the world. You could see it everywhere you looked. The hooks on his walls, the ones he hung his clothes on, were shaped like dragons. He would carve dragons into his wooden cups and plates. If he picked up a chisel to work on a beam, he would carve a dragon into the wood. His whole house was a tribute to the creature. Walk into his home, and dragons were all you would see. Paintings of dragons coiling through the clouds covered the walls. On the main pillars holding up his roof, he had carved dragons, their scales detailed, their claws gripping the wood. Up on the roof beams, more dragons faced each other, frozen in a silent snarl. He even had dragons on his window frames and doorways. It was said that if you looked closely at his bedding, you might find dragons stitched into the silk. The man ate, slept, and breathed dragons. His love for them was not a quiet hobby, it was a public statement. People would visit just to see the famous dragon house, and they would leave shaking their heads, amazed at his obsession. The name Lord Yi became a synonym for a true lover of dragons. Up in the heavens, this news traveled. It reached the ears of the real dragons. One particular dragon, a powerful and ancient one, heard the stories. He heard about this human who had dedicated his entire life and home to honoring the dragon kind. The dragon felt a warmth in his heart. He was touched. It was rare for a human to have such pure devotion. So, the dragon decided to do something he had never done before. He decided to descend from the heavens. He would go to the district of Yi, find this Lord Yi, and thank him personally. One afternoon, the sky over Lord Yi's property began to change. The air grew heavy and still. Then, the wind picked up, howling through the trees. Dark clouds rolled in, blocking out the sun, turning the day into dusk. Thunder rumbled, low and deep, shaking the very ground. Lord Yi was inside his dragon-covered house, resting. The sudden storm woke him. He loved dragons, but he did not like storms. He got up to close the windows to keep the rain out. He walked over to the window, the one with the carved dragon frame. He reached for the wooden shutter. As he leaned forward, a massive shape filled the opening. It was not the wind. It was a head. A dragon's head. It was enormous, covered in gleaming, dark scales. Its whiskers, thick as ropes, drifted in the storm wind. Its eyes, each one the size of a shield, were golden and looked directly at him. The dragon had pushed its head through the window, right into the room. Lord froze. His heart seemed to stop. Every story he had told, every painting he had stared at, none of them had prepared him for this. This was not art. This was a living creature of immense power. The dragon's breath was warm and smelled of the deep earth and storms. Lord stumbled backward, his face turning white. He tried to scream, but no sound came out. He turned and ran, not toward the dragon, but away. He ran into the main hall of his house. He stopped dead. There, stretching across the floor, was the rest of the dragon. Its long, powerful body snaked through the hall, and its tail was still outside, lost in the darkness and rain. The dragon was simply too big for the house. Lord was trapped. The thing he claimed to love most in the world was right in front of him, and it terrified him to his very core. He could not breathe. His legs would not move. All he could do was stare at the reality of what he had pretended to love. The dragon saw the look of pure terror on the man's face. The dragon saw him turn pale, saw him try to flee, saw him collapse. The dragon did not understand. This man had decorated his whole world with dragons. Why was he so afraid? There was no anger in the dragon, only confusion. The creature slowly pulled its head back from the window. It withdrew its body from the hall. It lifted up into the churning sky and disappeared into the clouds, leaving Lord alone, shaking on the floor of his dragon-filled house. The story says that Lord Yi did not love dragons at all. He loved the idea of dragons. He loved the pictures, the carvings, the symbols. He loved looking like someone who loved dragons. But when the real thing appeared, when it demanded a real response, he had nothing. His love was just for show. It was a costume he wore. This story is not really about a man and a dragon. It is about us. Think about the things you say you love, the hobbies you talk about, the skills you want to learn, the person you want to be. Is it real? Or is it just the image of it? It is easy to buy the equipment for a sport and never play. It is easy to stack books on your table and never read them. It is easy to tell people you value something, but when the real work shows up, when the real dragon pokes its head through your window, you run away. The test is not in the saying. The test is when that massive, terrifying, real thing appears at your window. What do you do then?
下集请移步主页观看。